Cool.
This draft looks great. Just like you, Blood, we're going to have a first ban Quang for Team Reborn.
Yeah, a valid ban. That means Sevarog is definitely a priority pick or ban for Oxy or Reborn here. We'll have to see if he's considered much, because Quang is definitely one of the stronger offlaners, if not the strongest, because he does beat the Sevarog. But we'll see. Rigo did beat the Quang in lane, so definitely a warranted ban. But we can see anything come out of Oxy at this point. We've seen Rampage bans, Grux bans, and the jungle pool has always been very heavily targeted, so we'll have to see if they decide to go more priority on offlane, or if they're going to target J Leo or someone else on the roster.
Now, one thing to note, even though we do have the return of Team Oxygen to the PCL, we do not have the return of Team Reborn.net, aka Ram Riddles. He is actually out of the roster for this weekend, so we have Proficiency filling that solo lane role.
And a Mirio ban coming out from Oxy there. So one of the strongest supports, very, very powerful when she gets ahead, can also hold her own when they get behind. So very nice ban out of Oxy. Then we see Reborn respond with the Rampage, the potent jungler that we've seen, played very well from iDoc. So excited to see how Jaleo performs on that one.
It's definitely probably the strongest jungler in the game. Definitely showing his face a lot here on the competitive scene and warranted a ban quite a bit in our first semifinal of the day. So Reborn getting their hands on a very strong jungler. Meanwhile, Team Oxygen, they get their hands on the strongest solo laner in the game in the Sevarog.
So I presume we will see the Sevarog offlane, seeing as there's no Quang to match it, giving them a very strong offlane pick. But that does mean, they'll have to pick another jungler. So they might go for the Grux. They can leave it later in the draft. Rampage is already picked. So I think Oxy definitely have got a very nice start to the draft here. They got their solo lane pick. They've got the strong Revenant, which NA loves so much, that can even be flexed between mid, as we've seen. And then they can save their jungle pick for later if the Rampage picked earlier. So we'll have to see how Reborn respond here and see what heroes they actually pick up.
Yeah, they do get a Zinx for themselves and the Fae. I really like the Zinx pickup when you can possibly have a Gideon against it. I just think that the Ricochet stun is such a strong interrupt to that ability, and is a very good skill in general because you can get that stun's duration up for so long if you can get those consecutive bounces, and they also managed to get the Fae on their hands, which Involve is absolutely fantastic on.
Indeed, so I presume this is going to be a Zinc support here with the Fae in mid lane. It's just a solid 3 heroes for Reborn. They got a lot of nice CC here, a lot of good damage output, and they'll definitely be looking for a hyper carry here for their carry pick probably. Oxygen picking up Grux and Decker. Grux, as expected, there's their jungle pick, and Decker to match against the Zinc. So, as I said, in here we prefer the Decker over the Narbash. Her cage is still a very powerful ability. Her stun is very, very powerful because it's AoE, and hopefully we'll see some nice plays coming out from Phasma on the Decker because he is very good at it.
We've seen some very good Deckers over the course of the PCL, since most of the time it has been Decker that's the preferred support over the history of this event. So it'll be fun to see Team Oxygen picking it up here once again, and maybe we'll be able to add Phasma to the list of just fantastic Decker players that we've seen in the PCL. Definitely is a great support, but doesn't really strike me as that much of a Decker player for the most part. So I'm hoping we can see some great things from him here, and this is something that I'm sure you're very happy to see a Wukong picked up for Reborn.
Yeah, so this is probably offlane due to Reflect, the Rampage going in the jungle for J Leo. But never know, maybe we'll still see a jungle. I think it's very strong in the jungle, the Wukong pick, especially for what we've seen on EU. But you never know. This looks like an offlane pick. Rampage, of course, being the strongest jungler. I couldn't imagine that they'd swap it around and then Drongo carry. Seeing a lot of Drongo. Never see this in use. It's definitely a surprise to me. But apparently NA like the Drongo pick a lot with the Revenant.
He's just got a lot of objective control as well. Meanwhile, Team Oxygen with their last pickup, surprisingly going for a Morigesh here, which has been one of Arsenic's. I don't even know where that came from. Arsenic's favorite heroes to play. We've seen some great matches out of him handling the Morigesh. Of course, when she was a lot stronger, but we're gonna have some curses today.
Yes, love Morigesh. I think she's a powerful pick at the moment, a bit of a hidden strong hero that not many pick up on. An Arsenic, as we've seen before, he does like the hero, so let's see if he can put in the work with it.
Lots of great comfort picks for each side. We'll see which one is more comfortable and which side is actually able to take the W here in game number 1 of our second semifinal of the day. Let's start it up in 3, 2, 1, go. Still working through a couple of things here, production side, so we can show you that in game time. But we are here in our 4th now match of the day, since we did have 3 in the earlier semifinal. And we're still going strong here in PCL NA number 12. Let's go through and introduce our lineups here. On the Dusk side for Reborn is going to be Solo Nazgul playing the support Zinx. We've got Jay Leo actually playing the Wukong out of the jungle. Logic playing a Drongo. We've got Reflect taking Rampage over to the solo lane, and then finally Involve, not too much of a surprise there, taking the Fae over to mid.
Yeah, and then on the other side, for Oxygen, we see Strafe playing Revenant carry, Arsenic in mid with his Morigesh, Proficiency on the Sevarog in solo lane, Phasma playing Decker support, and Meds in the jungle with Grux.
Already a couple of interesting things going on. We see Phasma getting some wards down on the map, and there's a weak side clear already for Jay Leo.
Yeah, very interesting start from J-Liu here, and on the Wukong, like, I did not expect this at all. Reflect with the off-lane Rampage here, matching against the Sevarog. I would like to see how this matchup actually turns out, because I imagine that Sevarog should bully this around a little bit. Maybe needs some help from J-Liu, hence why he starts the weak side here. And we'll have to see how he manipulates that lane with the Wukong.
Yeah, we will definitely have to see. We see Jay Leo going for the black buff right now. Now, a Rampage, when he goes over to the solo lane, you can get some good damage out with the Rumble as well as the Rock, but you won't really be able to take advantage of the jungle regen as much.
Yeah, his regen non-effective in lane, he'd have to dip past the fog wall to have that, so I presume he's going to be focusing a bit more on the Rock and Rumble in this game in the lane, but I still don't know if that's going to be enough damage up to beat the Sevarog, but we'll have to see. The Sevarog spammable Siphon does end up winning him the matchup most of the time.
If you take a look at the drafting too, like, you get the Rampage first, Reborn able to take advantage of that pickup, but if you don't put it into the jungle, you're hoping to get something even better out of that most likely. Is a Wukong really going to offer that much to Reborn here?
So the Wukong jungle is very strong at the moment. The mobility he has is very potent usually for ganking the side with the higher ledge, basically. So it's actually weaker for ganking the duo here, but stronger for ganking the offlanes. That, I presume that's where his focus will be, because he has the ability to jump up that ledge and get behind the opposing laner of such. So you usually see it probably more so on the Dawn side than the Dusk. The stun making his ganks very efficient, gets behind, knocks them in. It's like an very early Sevarog ult. It makes him very potent at jungle, but I'm not sure if it does warrant getting rid of the Rampage.
Oh, first blood over to the duo lane as Phasma won't be able to protect Strafe there. And Logic, Solo Nazgul will be able to find the first kill. We've heard some rumblings actually that Logic might not be working as well with this duo lane, and with Vecron's PC blowing up, I mean, this lane gets even more difficult for Reborn to get up to their general standard, but already they get the first blood here in game 1 of the semifinal. Looking pretty good already.
Yeah, definitely, seeing that Zinc strength in laning phase, she provides a lot of damage output there, and wow, Arsenic actually going down as well in mid lane to
falls. Meanwhile, Reflect will take some aggression over on the solo lane, and that's going to be the gank that Meds was looking for over there. So lots of aggression early. It's going to be 2-1 so far in terms of kills in favor of Team Reborn.
That's very well played on the map by Reborn there. Meds does pick up a kill though, using the other side of the map where he didn't take too many hits to his team. It is interesting to see the 5 exoskeletons on the side of Reborn. So they're all running growth, they all in exoskeleton start to try and win these lane phases, and you can see it's a very potent card. The mid lane winning out there, the duo lane winning out there, the off lane are only just going down due to jungle pressure. So.
And it took a lot of jungle pressure there as well. Like, Meds has been spending a lot of time over there going as soon as he got the green buff up, really trying to make sure that they punish the Rampage in this lineup, but they're spending a lot of time on it, and they may be losing more of their lanes as a result. Nice stasis bomb onto Logic. They're going to slow him down with the bubble as well, trying to make sure that the Drongo gets a little bit of pressure put on him here. But Solo Nazgul seems to be happy to go into it. Stasis bomb is going to miss from Phasma. Still going on to Solo Nazgul and Logic here, making them take a lot of damage in this duo.
Yeah, when Zinx doesn't have that mana, she just literally doesn't do anything in the lane, much like most supports, but her damage output all comes from there, and when she runs out, she just doesn't really do too much. So Phasma and Strafe able to reclaim the lane a little bit there, and they've got the vision control to do so. They can see if they get a rotation from J. Leo at this point.
Yeah, Jay Leo is still focusing on cleaning up most of the jungle. Med's about to go over to mid, but he's just going to be picking up the river buff at this point, and it is another Shadow Plane buff. There have been so many of those this game.
Yeah, they've been pretty deciding in the early games with all the picks, especially on Gruxes and Richters, as we've seen, pulling people out of towers. The stealth Grux is very, very terrifying, and he's actually making his way straight over to the other side of the map here, maybe looking for mid lane now. Not too sure what he wants to do with this buff. I think Reborn do sort of know, though. They did have a ward near it.
The thing is, they don't know, but they can guess. They're like, okay, well, we don't know what buff was on that side of the map. Perhaps they did a little bit. They saw Grux kind of go over to that area with the ward that they have down. But, you know, they're not very sure about which buff it was. So Involve knows that he can't really move up in that kind of engagement at all because there could be a Grux just walking around with the Shadow Plane buff. You always have to be aware to that possibility.
Yeah, Involve played it very nice there, just nice and safe. So did the duo lane. They respectfully just backed away, stayed near their tower, and just didn't overextend a little bit, giving Grux any opportunity. So Meds pretty much discards his buff there, going for a greedy grab.
Jay Leo, they're going to get the ultimate onto Arsenic as well, looking to get the kill. Meanwhile, though, Meds is wreaking havoc onto Involve at the backside of it, so Arsenic will fall, but the enemy mid laner does as well. Both of them die. Meanwhile, we have some aggression onto the Oxygen duo lane, as we have Strafe falling. Phasma gets the rocket boots up to the high ground. They will not find him here. It seems like there was aggression in every single lane at the same time.
Yeah, the action's going on all over the place at the same time, and Reflect Proficiency constantly brawling it out now. In the jungle there, Reflect did have a slight advantage, so didn't take too much damage, but definitely winning out with Logic and Nazgul on that duo lane there, and then mid lane the trade. So I think Reborn getting a lot off of this. Phasma might be caught here with J-Leo behind the tower.
Here comes the monkey, gets it with the Boundless Strike, but he's taking a lot of damage from the tower. He doesn't really want to be there too much longer at all. And Arsenic is going to try to go for some damage as well. Gets the mark onto Logic, and there you go. Easy kill, even though Jaylee was trying to create a little bit of ground with yet another Boundless Strike.
Yeah, he couldn't quite pick up that kill there. No follow-up onto Phasma, gets himself into a bit of a bad spot, and Logic ends up suffering for it. But Arsenic will just go back to lane, get farming now. He did use a lot of his mana for that gank, though.
Yeah, there's just only so much you can do with the Margash. You have to keep on putting out those marks in the hives just to give yourself any amount of space there. And Arsenic definitely does get a little bit out of that gank, but he would probably like to get a little bit more in the future. I mean, if we take a look at the solo lane now, Proficiency versus Reflect, they are even on experience at this point in time, and Reflect has gotten that lane pushing up pretty far up against the Sevarog.
Yeah, he's hard from this lane here, and with the Possessed, he sort of makes up for that lack of regen, so he's able to push the lane in a little bit. He seems to be holding his own, but he's definitely getting a little bit of a deficit in this lane in comparison to the Sevarog, so we'll probably see Sevarog starting to ramp up a little bit and overtake the Rampage in the matchup for sure.
And take a quick look at the cards right now. We see a couple of Flame of Zekins being picked up on each side, and as you say, the Possessed Brykins already showing up in full force here for Team Oxygen. We've got 3 of them on that side at the moment, so they really are using that card to try to give themselves advantage, but Reflect is still using it to pretty good use in his lane, making sure that he doesn't fall too far behind the Proficiency Sevarog.
Yeah, Med's putting some pressure on mid here, but nothing really gained from it, just letting Arsenic back in it. Looks like everyone's just going back to farming at the moment, just trying to scale a bit. I think Oxy, they really want to pressure in mid-game when the Revenant starts to get his ultimate online, when Morigesh gets a couple cards online, Sevarog gets a bit stronger. That's when all their power starts to come from. So Reborn definitely doing good with their early pressure here, and I wonder if they can actually try and look for an early Fangtooth off of this with the Wukong.
Now, historically, Reborn have been the team that team fights better, and Oxygen have been the team that farms better. But this is a little bit early in the game to tell which way is going to be true for each of these teams here. Do you think that Reborn are setting themselves up to be that excellent team fighting team?
Most likely. The Wukong Picket's a little weaker in team fighting than something, say, like a Grux, but he still definitely can put in the work with his stun. It depends if they can get the synergy with it. If J-Leo can knock someone towards Faye's ultimate to get a 2 or 3 man ult off, that can create a lot of pressure if the Zinx Ricochet as well. Group them all up, maybe we get a reflect rotation. So they definitely got the potential to team fight really well. But we've got more of this pick-off comp from Oxy here. We've got this Morigesh to pick off kills. We got Revenant to isolate someone, Severagult to isolate someone. So they've got a Cage. You know, they can look to just isolate members of the team and pick them off one at a time. So we'll have to see how they play out these team fights.
Tower's down, but surprisingly, J-Leo doesn't decide to go for an engagement. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we still have stuff going on. Involve uses that ultimate, but it didn't get confirmed onto Involve. So, yeah, they didn't confirm that at all. So Involve will just back it on up and get away from that kill onto Arsenic. And meanwhile,
oh, J-Leo.
Looks like somebody was dead, but I didn't actually see that happen on the UI at all.
Were they? I didn't see that happen either.
Yeah, I think Involve is dead.
Oh, I guess he got Morigesh ulted then.
Yeah.
That's all I can assume. Huh. Well, he died. So we're going to see the duo lane. They did lose their T1 here for Oxy. They're going to probably just freeze that for now and farm up. As you said, Oxy like to farm a lot.
Oh, here we go on the Reflect, though. He goes into the Rampage ultimate, and he gets that Rumble down to proficiency, but that smash and grab from Meds is going to keep him in place for a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, reflecting the rest of, well, he's gone down while the rest of his team goes for Fangtooth. Can Phasma do anything here? Nice containment fence is going to make it difficult for Reborn to go for this one, but they're going to continue to try to use logic to secure that Fangtooth. Now the Reckoning goes out onto J-Leo to make sure that he is going to get taken down, but actually he turns it on around, and he knocks Strafe back with that Boundless Strike. Meanwhile, Involve trying to get away from Meds. I believe he actually did use the Blit Rush to get away there, and now Involve is going to get smacked up against the wall. The Siphon will be able to find the kill. Oxygen still looking strong even though they lose out on the Fangtooth.
Yeah, they lost the Fangtooth, but excellent play by them having the rotation from proficiency there, and they're able to just clean up a few kills.
Are you kidding me?
Are you going for OP here?
They're actually going for the Orb Prime, the Prime Guardian, taking some damage here. They know that the Flame of Seconds are down from Reborn. They have all 5 members around it. They're going to go for it. They're going to try to take him all the way down, and the Prime Guardian goes to Oxygen. Just a heads-up play there. Smash and grab doesn't get hit onto Soul Nazgul just yet, but they will finally do it there. Reflect up into the air, and Reborn are getting cleaned up even though they just took the Fangtooth, looking for a stasis bomb. It doesn't hit around to Drongo, but I think the damage has already been done by Team Oxygen. What an aggressive play.
Amazing play by Oxygen there. They noticed the jungle on the other side of the map. They just got a couple picks. Zetchin's down. They just rushed towards that Orb Prime. And, well, they secured. They set that up so nicely on the map. And it was such a quick burn of the Grux as well. He does so much damage to it. Severog's got spammable damage as well. And, yeah, they just take it down very swiftly. And that's a really good trade from Oxy. They're really well played by them. And we'll have to see what they now do with this very early game Orb Prime.
Just such a quick rotation by Team Oxygen, and it left Reborn reeling. They even knew that it was happening. They were like, oh my gosh, they just all went across the mid lane. They're going for the Prime Guardian, but they couldn't do anything, and they even ended up losing 2 kills to that one. And even though it looks like on the UI that Team Oxygen are behind about 4K in terms of net worth, they are still very much in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're probably even ahead at this point. The Orb Prime gave them the sort of currency back from what they lost on Fangtooth, just about, not quite as much. But all the towers they take here, this is where the real deal is going to happen from the Orb Prime. This is where they're going to get all their advantage from the early pressure. So they take down the T1 on right. Revenant's not around. We'll see if they pressure T2, but I feel like they won't be able to take this one.
I feel like they're just not really even committing all that much to it. They realize that the lane is pushing in the left. I think if they can get some pickoffs here, it might be good, but the Prime Guardian doesn't give you that much of an advantage, so they have to continue to be careful against Reborn, but they're going to go for a tier 2 instead. That's where those minions were going, and the Deckers here as well. Arsenic still putting some pressure onto the right lane. Proficiency might get caught out. Can Phasma help enough? He throws in the stasis bomb, but it bounces all over the place. It doesn't hit onto anything. Doesn't end up mattering. Proficiency gets out. That was a close call for both teams. Arsenic, are you really wanting to go for this one? Getting jumped on by Geo. There's the J-Leo. There's the Venus Flytrap to find the kill as well on the Arsenic. That's a bit of an overextension from Team Oxygen. I might have lost my co-caster again. Solo Nazgul trying to get some aggression on the strafe, but he knows that there are people going over to this lane. Can he actually kill the enemy team's carry? Here comes the Reckoning, and Solo Nazgul will get hit underneath his own tower. That might open up another tier 1 tower for Team Oxygen as well, and they'll continue to keep their advantage going. And Fangtooth has respawned. That is something that they could take in the next couple of seconds if they so choose. Let's see if I can get my co-caster back in here as Team Oxygen try to take the Fangtooth down as well. Alright, Blood's back. There we go.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, nice easy Fangtooth pick up there for Oxygen. And yeah, they got a hell of a lot of that OP, and then they even get their own Fangtooth off the back of it. So only advantage is there for Oxygen, basically, as they clean up all the T1s as well, and they pretty much set themselves up for either another Fangtooth play or just to pressure the lanes, look for a rotation, a pick. They got
they
a
just
really
took
good
the
pick potential. With the next Fangtooth basically set up. But yeah, they've got a really good comp for getting a pick here to maybe pressure a tier 2.
Proficiency already with another Shadow Plane buff, and he might get the
stealth.
Colossal Blow onto Involve into his subjugate, but he gets a Blitz Rush out. Involve just so strong with that card, and he makes sure that the initiation from Oxygen isn't going to be completely done there. Excellent by Involve, making sure that he keeps himself alive.
Yeah, he didn't quite have the subjugate on point, but the Blitz Rush definitely secured the escape from Involve there. And no pick happening from a stealth, which is pretty huge. Arsenic in mid, maybe getting engaged on here.
Here's Involve turning it around, making sure that the Maragesh pays.
Yeah, I think she definitely died there, even though she didn't die on my screen.
Yep, her body was left, but her soul is dead.
Yeah, the good Faye ultimate there, good J-Leo stun, just picks up the easy kill. Maragesh is not too mobile, she has a speed buff, but nothing to dodge those abilities, and does get picked up in mid lane. We do see Oxygen starting to converge more towards the left side here. Maybe Meds heads over for the black buff, and maybe looks for some dual lane pressure here while their mid laner respawns.
Yeah, they could be looking for a stasis bomb. They get it on the Solo Nazgul. The ricochet stun should be good, but it makes things so difficult for him when he gets hit by that containment fence. And they're trying to set up another kill for Strafe over here, who will be able to get the Reckoning into a kill. And Logic's being set up as well. Strafe is looking to set himself up for another kill. Logic has to be careful here, but old Rusty is not going to be able to save him this time. Meanwhile, Reflect is going for the tier 1 tower on the right side, but I think that Oxygen are going to continue to keep their advantages and stay aggressive all over this map.
Yeah, that was very well played from Strafe and Phasma there, isolating one target with the Revenant ult. Decker delays the next one with her stasis bomb into her bubble there, and there you go, and Revenant comes out of his ult and picks up another kill. So they're looking to pressure mid lane off of this now. Arsenic may be caught. Again.
Here comes J-Leo, gets that Boundless Strike again, and Involve gets the ultimate on the 2. Proficiency trying to do everything he can to get away. Says, get away from me, with the Colossal Blow keeping them away. He's at least going to stay alive here, but maybe Meds can get some kills as well. Subjugate goes out, the Rock misses, and Team Oxygen are just trying to keep this mid push at bay.
And Arsenic got picked again on the Maragesh, which is not ideal. This Faye ult from Involve is creating so many plays for Reborn here, and they're looking to definitely set up for this Fangtooth here that's just about to respawn. We can see if Oxy can respond to this and maybe make a play here.
Yeah, but this Fangtooth will go down so quickly thanks to J-Leo's Wukong. This is what the Wukong allows you to do. And also they have Logic's Drongo on their side. So the objective pressure right now for Reborn is just a whole lot to try to handle if you're Team Oxygen.
Yeah, definitely that was burnt down way too fast for Oxygen to respond. They are looking for a kill here. They're looking for a pick. The Maragesh has respawned and is heading over, and they want to try and get something off the back of this because that was pretty much a free Fangtooth that they didn't really want to give away. Maybe mid T2.
Team Oxygen have been really good at just having some kind of response to any kind of Fangtooth that Reborn are taking, and they're set up to go for a tier 2 right now. Drongo still making sure that left lane doesn't push in, but Team Oxygen are coming for the jump pads right now. Reflect gets the rock to the backside, making sure that Strafe gets low. He's looking for a Reckoning. Is he going to be able to get it onto somebody? He goes underneath the tower for Solo Nazgul. Strafe getting aggressive. Meanwhile, Reflect is going to get cursed on the backside. Here comes the dagger made of maggots, and he's going to fall as well. Meds is doing so much damage. He's eventually going to die, but not before he's just done so much work against Team Reborn, and Oxygen are just getting demolished they're demolishing right now, and Involve is the last one to stay alive, using that Blish Rush to trying to make sure that he stays up, but the last hit from Strafe will be there, and Team Oxygen surround the tier 2 tower. They're mostly low, but they may be able to find themselves an inhib at this point, and we're only 19 minutes in.
Yeah, that looked really good for Reborn at first there with the Rampage Rock initiation from his ult, but all the numbers just weren't there to follow up quick enough, and they would just get picked off one by this comp. Again, the isolation, the Revenant ult on someone, the Severog ult to take the Rampage away from the fight, and then taken out by the Morrigan. It's just really well played.
Actually, 2 inhibs?
That might be 2 inhibitors there, yes.
Team Oxygen with so much of an advantage after that one. They need a couple more hits to take it down. Proficiency with the Phantom Rush out. He's not even going to die just yet. So Nazgul gets that nice little red carpet down, but the Subjugate is going to keep him away from this one. Reflect trying to go in, but the Colossal Blow again knocks him back, and the Rock is going to miss. He can't hit it. They can't get anything against Team Oxygen, who just stole 2 inhibs away from them. So Nazgul continues to try to go with the Ricochet stun, continues to get slowed, can reflect hit a Rock. He can't even hit him. He's going for the Sevrog with all that he can, but he might get the tables turned on him in just a couple of seconds. Here comes the Stasis Bomb, Reflect taken within inches of his life. He's almost taken down, and so Nazgul, he is going to pay for this one as well. Can Strafe find the kill on the Logic? They're going to respect themselves for a couple seconds, but here comes the damage from Proficiency again. You can't deal with the Sevrog. Now can J-Wheel do anything? Nice, beautiful ultimate once again from Involve, and finally that Drongo will be joining his friend Revenant in the afterlife, but man, it's just been such a close couple of minutes, and right now Reborn have to try to get something after that one. Wukong taking the OP down quite a bit. Can J-Wheel get enough for his team? Arsenic coming around the side. His teammates are low, but Arsenic is not going to challenge that, and the Prime Guardian goes to Reborn in a back and forth knockdown drag out match.
Meds is split pushing. Meanwhile, though, he looks like he's going to take out this T2. This is a Grux. He takes towers very, very quickly with the double pain, and if he wants to commit his Warlord's challenge. So that was a good trade overall by Oxygen, and they do lose the OP, but they still got those 2 inhibitors. They got a trade kill back as well, and they're even able to maybe take out not quite the T2.
Yeah, they take it down very low. This game has been back and forth for each side. When it seems like one is able to take an advantage, the other one is going to try to push it, try to get themselves back on even footing. It's so close between these two sides.
Indeed, with the 2 inhibitors down, Oxy are definitely in control now. They pretty much just need to wait out the OP. They might risk the Fangtooth here. They can burn it pretty quick, but they certainly just don't want to die here. As long as Reborn can't get any picks here with the OP, they're not going to be able to push anything down, and they're going to let it run out, and then they can just simply use the 2 inhib pressure to push down the last lane and secure the game. That's probably what they're looking for, but Reborn need to be proactive here.
Oxygen take another Fangtooth off the map, and although Meds was pushing that left lane tier 2 by himself before, it's going to be even more difficult for Reborn to defend it now. They may have the Prime buff on themselves, but they still have to be able to defend those other 2 lanes while they have to deal with a push from Oxygen down left.
Indeed, they really need to get these lanes pushed down. They just need a good fight here. This is the only thing they can do. But with 2 inhibitors down, it's going to be definitely a struggle for Reborn now to come back into this.
Yeah, absolutely. They're still going to try. That's what Reborn do, and they may be able to work magic for themselves. We saw a 3 inhibitor comeback for Oxygen in the past. Indeed. We may be asking Reborn to do the same for themselves here. It's harkening back to a very long time in the past for Oxygen when they had those 3 inhibs down, but they definitely remember it, and I think that Reborn, I think they have it in themselves to try and do it here. Wukong is making short work of these waves, even with the super minions pushing in, so Reborn have set themselves up even to contest this aggression and this map control from Oxygen. The question is, when are Oxygen going to break? When are they going to try to go for this push to end the game?
Yeah, Oxy just waiting some pressure here at the moment, but they do need to, as you can see, send Severog away, because this Wukong, it is a carry Wukong. He does a lot of damage. He has a Vamp Blade and such. He has his Swamp Stalker. He's going to kill the waves very fast, and it's going to mean that there's just no pressure on that core, providing he's there. So, as you can see, they're sending Proficiency. He's going to try and push these waves in a bit faster so that they can have this 5-man push on left lane without J-Leo's response.
And even though Reborn are behind in this game overall, J-Wheel actually has the highest net worth at 32,000 on just the Wukong. Next closest is at 30,000. That shows you it shows you what you can do with control aggression on that hero, keeping yourself on gold, even if your team is behind. Now, Meds is going to get caught out a little bit. Oxygen have to try to keep him protected, but he's going to be fine. Meanwhile, J-Wheel, he's going to find Proficiency on the backside and make sure that he gets forced out. Subjugate's going to be there, but there's no follow-up at all from the rest of his team, so Proficiency really has to get back here. May have been a little bit too far up. Luckily, he's going to be able to retreat, and it's time to play the patience game for both sides.
Indeed, this is Oxygen's game to lose here pretty much at this point. They realise that, and they back away when they take too much poke onto Mez. They just need to pretty much reset themselves and then come back to this lane at a later date, because they maybe botched that siege a little bit there. They had Proficiency come around the back, try and look for a Colossal Blow, but Mez just took way too much damage, and they don't want to take the risk at this point. So they're just going to reset up, maybe wait for a neutral objective even. They could do another Fangtooth soon. They could always wait for Prime to come back up. They have all the options in the world, and it's Reborn that need to make the play here. They do have this Wukong now, which sort of transitions to an off-lane pick now, as you can see, sort of splitting all the time, trying to push out all the other waves and such, and Reflect has become sort of the primary engage for Reborn for this Rampage. It's sort of swap roles a little bit in the mid to late game, so I quite like that dynamic that they brought here with this team comp.
Yeah, and making sure that Jay Liu doesn't quite have to be the one to initiate every single time, and he's actually going to be the big damage dealer. I like that change of pace, like you said. And Team Oxygen, I don't know if they like it so much, but they probably don't care as much. They're going to go for Fangtooth once again, Strafe starting it up on his own. Doesn't really need a whole lot of help from his team, and that's going to be another Fangtooth going the way of Team Oxygen. Again, keeping control of the lanes, making it so that Reborn can hardly even get out of their base at this point.
Indeed, we actually see a stealth buff now picked up by Proficiency, so he's now in the shadow plane and maybe ready to look for a pick here, and that's what they really need here, because at the moment, Prime's going to be respawning soon. They have to make a play soon, because if they don't, then they risk either losing the fight and then Reborn take OP and actually get to do something, or they have to just go for OP themselves, so they'll limit themselves a bit more on options here.
Well, Jay Liu is desperately trying to give themselves a little bit of control on the Prime Guardian side of the map, but now Oxygen, seeing that he was pushing that up pretty far, it's going to be pretty easy for them to take the tier 2 and possibly the end of here. It is going to be time for Reborn to get the most bang out of their buff here in the left lane. Proficiency, as you said, on the backside with the Shadow Plane buff. He's going to go for Involve, gets the Subjugate on top of the Colossal Blow and the Stasis Bomb as well, and that's going to be a Reckoning to clean up the Fae. That is a very quick kill, and that might be just what Team Oxygen needs to just put this game in the bag. Jay Liu goes after Arsenic, gets a lot of monkeys around him. The smash and grab by Meds, gets two down to the low ground. Reflect is taken there as well. Beautiful containment fence. It looks like it took in everybody. Jay Liu can't find anything on the backside, and Reborn lose 4. About to be 5 as Logic can only shoot his little Drongo gun against Team Oxygen, but it will be the boys in the cowboy hats who end up taking game number 1 of this second semifinal, one step closer to getting a matchup against Gal Esports in the grand final.
Amazingly well played by Oxy there. They played their comp to a T, basically. As you see, they ban away the Muriel because they're playing this isolate comp. They want to choose a target and just make sure it dies. Like, they had the Sevarog ult, put him out of position, root him down, and then Revenant can ult finish off the kill. They have Morigesh to finish off the kill. They have the Cage to finish off the kill. They have so much potential to just make picks of this comp, and they played it really well, and you can really see why they banned out the Muriel here. So very well played to Oxygen to close out the game.
Yeah, just an excellent match in general. Love seeing these two teams go at it. And luckily for everybody here, we are going to see another game, because that was just game number 1 of this best of 3 set. If you can do the simple maths, that means we got a game number 2. And it'll be here in just a little bit. These teams are so close. It's so entertaining to see them actually play once again, with Team Oxygen making their return to the PCL. And we still have more after this, because Gal Esports are awaiting the winner. So make sure you all stick around, chat your amazing players. Love watching these guys play, and we'll be able to see them in just a little bit.